Ready? Let's have Samuel. Samuel Luashin.
Okay, I don't know. You said Adiola Michael. I'm not Adiola Michael, but I'm Adiola. So.
Okay, Adiola, go ahead.
Okay, anyway, my take home from the last class was basically a project would always have a beginning and will always have an end. And
okay.
There must actually be a scope to a project. It can't just be, it can't be scopeless. It has to have a scope which will give direction to a project. So, and then I also learned about the life cycle of a project, which is crucial to the success of a project: the initiating stage, the planning stage, executing, then monitoring and controlling, and then closing. So you must always close a project, just as you would initiate it at the beginning. You must also close a project. Thank you. So that's my take home.
All right, thank you so much. So let's hear from Samuel. Samuel Oluwaseun.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
Yeah, so my take home as at the last class was still about the project management processes. Like she said initiating, and it's also the last part is closing. So initiating, planning, executing, monitoring, and closing. So that was the major point I heard as at last class. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's take Michael Dada. Michael Dada, please unmute yourself and let's have a take home. Michael Gbero Dada, please. Okay, while Michael is getting set, let's hear from Victor. Victor.
Okay, good evening.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Okay, my take home from last class was specifically the aspect of lessons learned during projects. You know, from the planning stage specifically, that's where we'll start taking note of what needs to be done or improved upon going forward. So your lessons learned are to be documented at the closure or from each phase or each process. At the end of the project, during the closure, all those lessons that have been learned are put together to form a lessons learned log, where all informations gathered during the course of this process and what could be improved upon in the next project planning phase can be worked on and documented.
Oh, thank you so much for that, Victor. So let's hear from Tony. Tony Olaoye, please. You can unmute yourself and tell us your take home for last class. Tony, please. Okay, why Tony is getting Oluwatobi Ayola. Barakat, hello, Barakat.
Yes, sir, I'm here. Good evening, sir.
Why are the participants, why are they not responding now? What is there an issue?
I think that should be the internet or something. Sure, they're all on this call. I'm not sure they can all hear you as well. They asked me the network.
That's not true. I really do not appreciate when I cannot communicate to the class on the call. It's really quite frustrating anyway.
Apologies for that, sir. Please, class members, let's all respond when our names are being called.
Okay, good evening, sir. This is Adeolu Michael. I'm in a noisy environment, sir.
But
Yes,
at
sir.
least you would have apologized and just said something. It's not nice to just keep everybody mute. It's not good. Just signify by raising your hands on your system, and then we'll take it up from there. Okay, thank you, Samuel Lucio. I called you earlier. Okay, great. So I can start off now. Thanks. You can lower your hand. We'll just go straight into it. I'll share my screen, and we shall be looking at building fabric and structure maintenance, this evening. And at the close of this, he was able to mention the different types of walls, ceilings, roof, windows, and doors. You'll be able to understand the use of different elements in the building and explain the maintenance routine of the different elements of the building, how to maintain the building. That shall be the objectives of this class today. And by way of our course, we shall look at the walls, we shall look at floors, we shall look at ceilings, we shall look at floors, we shall also look at windows and doors. By way of introduction, building maintenance is essential to prolong the building life cycle and reduce the company loss or the individual loss, depending on the owner of the building. When buildings are neglected, defects can occur, which may result in excessive, extensive, and unavoidable damage to the building fabric or structure in itself. It's very important that neglecting a building will affect the building structure. And once that affects the building structure, there may be irreversible damage to the structure, which will constitute general loss. And then those that are there, that lives in that structure, they're exposed to enormous danger. Starting off with building elements, we look at the walls. A wall is a structure that defines an area and carries load or provides shelter or security. Walls in buildings are form they form the major fundamental part of a building, and of the superstructure separates the internal rooms. For a building is divided into two parts: superstructure and then the substructure. Anything that happens below the ground level is called the substructure, and everything that happens above the ground level, the ones we can see, is called the superstructure. And walls are components of the superstructure and also the substructure. What happens in the substructure? You have the foundation or you have basements. Walls are classified into two major categories. We have the load-bearing walls and the non-load-bearing walls. Load-bearing walls are walls that carry load from the roof of the building and transfer the load to the foundation. Either interior or exterior walls, depending on how it is designed. Non-load-bearing walls are walls that do not carry weight. They only carry their own dead load, and are majorly used for partitioning spaces. They are used for partitioning spaces. Other types of wall may include parting wall. Parting walls are separation walls that are walls that separate two buildings, that separation walls. and they are good sound insulation. They also as firewalls. Also, we also have firewalls. Firewalls are walls that are built especially to from one part of the building to the other. And then we have the shear wall. Shear wall are designed to withstand forces like several winds or severe winds or earthquake, depending on the area you find yourself. Depending on the area you find yourself, shear wall is very important. We also have the movable partitions. There are regular partitions that we see that are movable from time to time. We also have fixed partitions, which are made of dry walls. And then we have curtain walls or building facade. Curtain walls are becoming increasingly popular in Nigeria now. The glass facades that you see, they're all curtain walls. You also have what we call in two leaves to skin with a space in between, which is called a cavity between them. The cavity wall helps to prevent penetration of rain to the interior surface of a wall and are not load-bearing walls. They're not necessarily load-bearing walls, just walls to protect the internal spaces where they are required. Types of wall finish. Finishes on walls. You have stained glass finish. Those are what you find in cathedrals. You have stained walls. You have pebble finish. Pebble. You have pebbles when you arrange pebbles. They're normally very attractive. You have the plaster cement finish. You have the marble finish for when you use marble tiles against the wall. You have the POP finish, which we know. We have the tile cladding. We have the plaster boards. You have brick. You have mortar. You have for kitchen areas, bathrooms, toilets, walls. You have wooden cladding used as for decorative purposes. You also have wallpapers. Wallpapers are also used for walls. You have metal cladding where you use metal sheets for cladding. They are very strong and resistant to weather. You also have stone cladding, and you have a plastic cladding, depending on the material. It's just the material that is used to clad the area. Generally, cladding applies one material over another, a skin or layer used for thermal insulation, weather resistance, improving of buildings. That's what the work of cladding is in any structure. Functions of a wall. Functions of wall. It provides protection from weather. It allows for proper demarcation of any given area. It gives a barrier to sound, insulation, another is good for thermal insulation, and also provides a little bit of security and maintenance, wall maintenance plan. First of all, you have to thoroughly inspect the wall, check for wall movements or wall settlements, check for settlements, correct any certain issues, proper maintenance of landscape surfaces around the wall. Where you have plantings around the wall, it's good to properly maintain them so that it does not affect the general look of the wall. Cut the grasses or the flowers regularly so that it makes the wall looks good. Also ensure that when you notice any form of cracks on the walls, you need to maintain the wall to ensure that it's covered immediately. However, before there are different kind of cracks on walls that we'll see. You have the surface cracks, which are normally seen from time to time due to bad plaster sand or just general building settlement. I also have structural cracks. Structural cracks is It's very, very dangerous. When you have structural cracks, the crack comes from the foundation. It shows that the building foundation is failing. So in that kind of case, there's nothing you can do. You just have to reconstruct the building. You demolish and reconstruct the building. Wall maintenance. Also, when you have flaking paints, this is due to as a result of moist or improper separation when paint was first applied. So you have to just scrape out the existing paint before repainting the area. When you have chalking paints as a result of weathering, prepare the wall surface and remove the chalking and then repaint. You just sandpaper the area and then you repaint. When you have mud growing on the wall, check for leakage. That there are mud growing on the walls are normally caused by leakage on the wall. Look for the water trap and gutters overflow. When that happens, clear the gutter, identify and then repair the leakage where there are leakages, and then repaint the wall after those repairs have been done. Fixing corroding when you have your building is located in areas where there are salt and you have galvanized pipes, it normally causes them to corrode. And when that happens, you need to remove the areas that have been corroded and then ensure that those things are stopped. And then you fill the holes where they are. You plaster and then you repaint. Sealants are getting weak at joint areas as a result of sunlight effect on sealants. And replace in order to ceilings is the overhead interior surface of that covers the upper limit of the roof. It is not generally considered as a structural element, but a finished surface, concealing above. It's just that's what the roofs are. We have different types of roof. You have the acoustic roof. We have drywall ceiling roof. That's why it's done with plaster boards. We also have suspended ceilings. That is very popular. Also have the country normally we find in churches and in halls. The drywall ceilings are regularly known to look like the POP ceilings. Someone, I'm seeing your hand. Is there an issue?
Yes, I just wanted to confirm. Am I the only one missing some part of the voice note, or is just the network generally? I'm not getting you clearly somewhere.
Yeah, you're not the only one. It keeps tapering off from time to time.
Yes.
For a while. It's just going up back and forth.
Well, my network seems to be stable here. I don't know about your end, but I know my voice is a little cracky, so let me apologize for that. I did some spiritual exercise yesterday, very heavy ones that affected my voice. Sorry about that for the voice, but my network seems to be stable here. But however, when it cuts off, please just let me know so I can go back to where you last heard, and so I can continue.
All right, no problem. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yep.
Please just go to that cladding. When you're talking about cladding, I didn't get. I was trying to get the type of cladding we're talking about, but from there
Cladding is far off.
Just went off.
Cladding is far off. Okay, I'll just talk on cladding again. Cladding, like I said, is a material that is put over another material to protect it. It just provides like another layer or a skin over the over that covering. That is normally used for thermal insulation, weather resistance, and for protecting to improve the appearance of buildings. That's what cladding is actually used for. I hope that you got that now. So I'll continue from ceilings. Go to factors for the selecting ceiling finish. Sometimes the floor type determines the kind of ceiling you use. If you have very flamboyant floor types, It means I probably have a very good ceiling. Sometimes the ceiling pattern, sorry, the floor pattern also reflects also on the ceiling from depending on the design of what is done. Then also the lifestyle of the users, of the owner, also reflects the kind of ceiling. There's some persons that like having very elaborate POP ceilings, and that's what you will get. While some just want something regular, simple, and clean. That's what you get. Also, durability also forms part for the selection of ceilings. We also have, if it's the fire resistance, they look at that in some areas, especially in server rooms, where they require serious fire protection in case of fire to protect the server rooms. The appearance of the ceiling is also another factor. Suspended ceilings, residential, you can do more POP ceilings. There's about safety to the building occupants also. It also inform the factors for the selection of ceiling. Ceiling materials, some ceiling materials include wooden boards for general structure of buildings. We also have plaster. That's POP. We also have, no, sorry, the general plastering. You're plastering with sand, cement, screen. We also have the plaster boards that you use for that, and also POP. They work together. And we also have wood panels or planks. Wood panels or planks, which are used for ceiling. Also, we also have metal ceiling tiles. They're very easy to install. Repair of ceilings. When you have leakage, water leakage is a major source of happens. Identify and stop the source of the leakage. Most of the times, I always tell people that once there's leakage on your project and it's showing in the ceiling, you need to check the upper floor, not the floor where the ceiling is being identified. It means the leakage is coming from the upper floor. So you need to check that. Immediate culprits are the water-prone areas like bathrooms, toilets, and kitchens. Bathrooms, toilets, and kitchens. Normally, we always advise that the taps there are isolated and that happens, you just go and release them, isolate each water point. Maybe you release those water points, you will check which one particular one is leaking or is not leaking, so it can be attended to immediately and the leakage stops. Immediately leakage stops, dry the area above and below the ceiling. Any part of the ceiling that is budding or loose, then leave ceilings. If it's still and smooth, remove either ceiling, remove the entire ceiling if plaster separates from wooden latches. You also use sandpaper to smoothen over the rigid the ridge between good and affected area. Then before you now apply paint to these areas. Thank you very much. And then the next one, we'll be looking at roofs. Roofs. A roof is a top cover of a building, including all materials and construction necessary to support it on the walls of the building or on the upright of the building, providing protection against rain, snow, sunlight, extreme temperature, and wind. A roof is part of the building envelope. That will probably consider you have flat roofs, you have heap roofs, depending on the ones that you have. But generally, you have this diagram showing different types of roof. You see the shed roof, look at the flat roof, the heap roof, the clip gable roof, the gable roof, the Dutch gable roof, look at the mustard roof, and all the different types of roof. It's just for your knowledge. Factors for selection of roof material. One, how strong is the finish? Its ability to transmit, to transfer the load of the roof itself. They are all factors that are normally considered for the selection of roofs. Types of roof finishes. You have roofing sheets, which is the plastic roofing sheets. You have the corrugated galvanized sheets, which the aluminum corrugated sheet falls into. You have the fiberglass sheets, which is normally used for what they call perspex, and also sometimes they use them for factories to throw light into very big. Or you have the polycarbonate sheets, which are used for damper lawns and canopies. You have the tiles, roof tiles, which are used for general areas. Roofing materials also include asphalt. Asphalt. The asphalt is commonly used for roof for residential areas. You have the wood stacks and you have the metal, which is the steel and the aluminum or zinc, like we normally refer to them those days. Roof problems. Damage is usually as a result of a storm or heavy downpour. Once damage happens, assess the essence of damage of the roof. Is there any leakage? If there's any leakage, you sort that out. Is there holes that needs to be repaired? If there are holes that needs to be repaired, those holes are attended to. Remove roof material down to the sheeting in damaged areas. Replace the damaged materials. Prevent additional water damage by ensuring that roof is properly tarred or covered. Ensure that the roof gutters are free of dirt, and allow free flow of rainwater. It's very important to allow free flow of rainwater when you're talking about roofs. Look at our floors. A floor is the bottom surface of a room or a vehicle. Floor may be stones, wood, bamboo, metal, or any other material that can support the expected load that comes on it. The floor of a building are often referred to as floors. Sorry, the levels of a building are often referred to as floors, although a more proper term to be used is story. Floor typically consists of soft floor for support and then a floor covering used to give a good working surface. In modern buildings, the soft floors often has electrical wiring, plumbing materials, and other services running in the building, as floors must meet the needs, the many needs, some essential to safety. Floors are built to strict building codes, to strict.
Hello? It's been lost for a long time. Oh.
Not just you, yeah.
Okay, I think my network shut down. I don't know why it went off. Please, please let me know where it's went off so that I can go back. Sorry, can somebody remind me where it went off, please, so I can go back?
From floor, sir.
Okay,
yeah,
floors,
I think
all right.
start from floor all over again.
Okay, no problem. I'll do that. Okay, like I said, floors. A floor is the bottom surface of a room or a vehicle. Floors may be made of stones, wood, bamboo, metal, or any other materials that can support expected load. Floors for buildings, the levels of buildings are often referred to as floors, like first floor, second floor, third floor, fifth floor, sixth floor. But a more proper term to be used is actually story, first story, second story, third stories like that. That's American language. For the British, they use floors, depending on what Nigeria is tilted towards the British stuff. And I also mentioned types of floors, talked about laminate floors, which is normally made of laminate wood. Then I look at tiles for floors, which is becoming increasingly popular. We also look at hardwood floors. We use tongue and groove for the floor. So you have ceramic floor tiles, you have marble floor tiles as also finishes. You also have floor structures. You have suspended floors made up of two materials, concrete and tubular joist. It gives comfort to the building occupants when carpet is spread on top, and gives good soundproofing when well installed and used the proper. Consists of concrete or sub-base, concrete, cement floor screed, sand, and waterproof membrane as it's required. Also, in very complex office building or IT areas, you have balconies specially made, raised floors protected from the areas of the walls. You have the glass floors. Glass floors are just the glass. The floors are made from of glass. You have the spread floors, which are used for indoor games like basketball halls and all that. Those are the kind of floors that they use for those areas. You have a floor covering. You have the soft floor covering, which the rugs and the carpets are graded into them. And you have the resilience floor coverings. You have they are quite durable and easy to maintain. You have rubber. You have rubber floors. You have the rubber floors. You can look at the way they are spread properly. You have the sheet vinyl. You have the hard flooring. You have these hard floorings that are durable, concrete. They're made of concrete. Ceramic tiles. You have granite tiles. You have marble. You have vitrified tiles. You have brick. You also have terrazzo style of floors. You also have problems that are associated with floors. You have squeaking wood floors in certain areas when the joist and the joint of the wood floor is getting slack. Sometimes you have that is to the problem is and screw them back in position. When you have a floor vibration or making low sound when a heavy footage on it, reducing problem by flotation of the floor. That's where you have the floors floating. You also have floor you have floorboards having gaps. Once the floors have gaps at the site, sometimes some people, when they do construction of floors, what they do is that they do they do the walls before they do the floors. And what happens eventually is that after a while, the floor may sink and then affects the general outlay of the floor, giving gaps between the floor and the wall. When that happens, you need to check that properly. Floor very moist sometimes can. And separating usually occur in the line of weather changes or when you have expansion joint, joint in walls. That's when you have all those cracks. Then we look at maintenance for the walls, sorry, for the floors. Floor cleaning is required. Clean methods depending on the type of floor. For wooden floor, you clean, sweep all loose dirt, going along with the grains, mop the floors, drops of cleaning soap to the water that you use for the mopping, dip the mop into with water. For tiles and stone floors, remove dust and dirt with a broom or a vacuum cleaner. Spray the appropriate cleaning solution on the floor. Scrape the floor or mop the floor as is required. And then for cleaning schedule, you expect that daily schedule of cleaning, you dust and sweep and you mop. Weekly, it's nice to vacuum. Monthly, it's good to always polish the floor tiles monthly or depending on the floor finish. Quarterly schedule for deep cleaning, depending on what your overall plan will be. Windows. Windows. A window is an opening in a wall, door, roof, or vehicle that allows the exchange of light and may sometimes allow passage of sound and air, depending on what the window is used for. Modern windows are usually glazed or covered in some other transparent or translucent materials. Many glazed windows may be opened to allow ventilation or closed to exclude the elements of weather. Windows may have a latch or simple mechanism to lock the window shut or to hold it. Of windows used in buildings. There are so many types of buildings. There's also many types of windows that are used that are available based on their position, materials, and functioning of the windows. So windows are classified as follows. You have fixed windows. Fixed windows is when the window is fixed, it doesn't open, it just brings light into the space depending on what they want to do. You have sliding windows, which are very popular. You know that. You have that in a lot of houses that's becoming very popular. You have the pivot windows, is the one that opens when you push it out. You have the double hinge windows, double hung windows. Those one opens on two sides. It opens both at the top and at the bottom, depending on how it is done. You know the louvered windows. Hello? Somebody was saying something. Okay, just continue. We have the louvered windows, which is regular. You also have the casement windows. Those windows are the ones you push out, like the way you open your door. Metal windows, that's just the material that is identifying that. You also have corner windows. Those are found in corners. You have the bay windows. You have the double. Windows covering, you can apply film on it, you can apply cellular shades, you can use drippers or curtains for your windows. You can also use interior louver shutters for the window covering from the inside. Window glazing, you have the spectrally selected coat, you have the reflective coat for the glazing, and you also have the gas double glazing is normally used for to improve the temperature and also sound transmission for sound insulation. When you have the gas, you have double glazing. In between the glass, in between the double glazing, they insert some level of gas into it and seal the window. And once the window is sealed, it becomes like a window against um, against sound, gives you a very good sound attenuation. Materials for windows, we have the composite frame, window frame, you have the vinyl frame, you have aluminum frame, you have a fiberglass frame, and then you have wood types of window materials. You have wood, you have used for material for wood for windows. Like it's been done in those days, it's not as popular as it used to be those days. You have the aluminum. Aluminum is not becoming popular. You have vinyl also that's used for windows. Window maintainers. Window maintainers use weather strip to reduce air and water infiltration into window. Around edges, you're supposed to seal it with sealant. Some people use silicone for that, so that you're able to manage that. Also, check window for hardware, locks, and open mechanism. Any exposed hardware must be tightened securely. Always inspect the external clocking around the windows and the window frame and the outer edges. Check windows for smooth operation. Window seal, track tracks and hinges. Window frame, window repairs. Once you are looking at timber window frames, where there's rot, normally you have rot, you have decay of the wood and paint flaking. Cut off the small areas of put up with putty and replace that same part that you have cut off. Fix a new wooden area, fill it up with putty before you paint and screed. If the area is large, cut away the damaged area. Treat the remaining parts of the space with preservatives. Apply primer and undercoat as they finish. And then for window seals, where window seals can be repaired by cutting off the rotting part of the window seals, planting new pieces of seasoned wood, and then you now ensure that you spray and paint accordingly. Window panels, the formation of the condensation inside the seal cavity. When you have double glazing, you have a seal cavity, replace the glaze seal unit, and then or replace the whole window. Where you have a damp and dot in the window caused from rainfall entering through the gaps around the window. Improve rooms ventilation to remove the moist that is normally that comes as a result of the rain. And just like what you find in your cars, once you are driving during rainy season, once your AC is not on and you're inside the vehicle, you have this mist that covers the window. It forms, you are not able to see through the window. So you need to ventilate the space. And once you ventilate the space properly, you'll now be able to see clearly. That's the same effect that you have here. Metal window corroded. Well, clean the surface with wired brush. Yeah, if frost affects only the surface, cut out the corroded section, wet in the new replacement. Apply quality zinc primer, normally anti-rust. Once the rust is removed prior to the painting, normally I apply anti-rust. Normally for most of the projects that you do that are in areas where you have a lot of salt, we always advise that you use marine paint to paint after you have done use the red oxide or the black oxide on the metal areas. We advise that we use a marine paint for those areas. Defective lintel, expose, especially when it is a wooden lintel, expose the wooden lintel to dry up and replace the damaged one. insert new lintel to support the outer cavity weight. Insert new lintel to support the outer cavity weight. Doors. Okay. I want us to take a break now, so that when we come back, we'll take doors and then I'll take questions. I hope that's fine with everybody. We take a short break now, and then when we'll come back, we'll continue with doors. I hope that's fine.
Fine.
Okay, we'll take a 10 minutes break. Just catch your breath and then we'll continue. Thank you.
It's okay, sir.